Hello, this is Dr. Sangeeta Jain, Department of English, DAV College. Today, my presentation is about telephone conversation. This poem has been composed by African writer Wole Soyinkya. This poem is prescribed in the paper New Literatures in English in the course of B.A. English Honours 6th semester. Slides, please. Wole Soyinkya, telephone conversation. Introduction. Wole Soyinkya is the first African writer to be awarded a Nobel Prize in 1986. His full name is Ekinwande Oluwole Babatunde Soyinkya. He was born in Nigeria on 13 July in 1934 and belongs to Yoruba community. Apart from his early education in Nigeria, he went to University of Leeds and University of London for higher education. He is a poet, playwright, and essayist. Soyinkya has created an enormous body of fictional and non-fictional writings, which includes almost 30 plays and poetry collections, and umpteen essays, memoirs, fiction, and translations. Telephone Conversation. This poem was published in 1963. The central idea of this poem is to highlight racism, apartheid culture, discrimination against black people. What is this racism? Racism is the belief that one's race or ethnic group is superior or inferior to another race or group of races, or in other words, racism is prejudice or discrimination based upon race or ethnicity. Apartheid culture. Apartheid is the policy of racial separation used by South Africa from 1948 to 1990. So the idea of apartheid was that whites were superior to Africans, coloreds, and Indians, and the function of it was to entrench white supremacy forever. So this apartheid culture was to entrench the supremacy of the white people forever. Both racism and apartheid, they wanted to show the discrimination against black people. This poem is also an autobiographical narration. Soyinkya's personal experience has been translated into verse. The casual tone of the poem foregrounds the deeper underpinnings of biased consciousness in white middle-class Europeans towards the black-skinned people. What is remarkable here is the ironical and satirical treatment of the subject. So the text of the poem Telephone Conversation goes like this. The price seemed reasonable, location indifferent. The landlady swore she lived off premises. Nothing remained but self-confession. Madam, I hate a wasted journey. I am African. Silence. Silence, transmission of pressurized good breeding. Voice, when it came, lipstick coated. Long, gold-rolled, cigarette holder pipped. Caught, I was fully. Soyinkya narrates the personal incident of his life when he went to England for higher education, presumably. How he witnessed the biased attitude of a white woman whose house he wanted to rent. From some sources, he got the telephone number of the house where he wanted to put in. Seeing the amount of the rent as it was not very high, he, as a tenant, could afford it. From a phone booth, he made a call. He was not much worried or anxious about the distance or location of the house he desired. He made a call and inquired about the house. The beautiful, educated, well-cultured and well-nourished lady picked up the call and assured the speaker about the house. About her own disposition as landlady. She very consciously made several attempts to give her own personality's reflection. She expressed that she was a non-interfering lady who lived far off the rented premises, and she would generally not disturb the tenants either by her unoccasional visits or anxiousness towards the building or room's appearance. She was continuously confessing so as to welcome the new tenant. But the speaker was also conscious how white people, men or women, were practicing discrimination against the black people. Being an African would lose the opportunity to have the house as the beautiful landlady seemed to be very thoughtful or conscious. So the speaker of the poem demystified what was invisible over a telephone call. He revealed that he was an African and wanted to know her attitude towards a black person, whether she would agree to permit a black person to reside in her premises. As soon as the lady listened the word African, she maintained silence. That long, speechless silence seemed more vocal and meaningful to the poet or a speaker who deeply started to imagine about the good breeding of the lady. That is, very ironically, he surmised and commented upon the social, familial, political pressures in her development as an individual. Since childhood, how she must have been trained socially and politically to look at the people, to look at the black people as inferior people, and the whole race of non-white black people as denigrated people. The speaker tried to listen the silence, and after the silence of a short while, the sonorous musical voice from the lipstick-coated lips, holding a golden cigarette holder, uttered a few words with caution so as not to sound harsh clearly. She asked the speaker about the shade of his black skin. Was it very deep, dark black or lighter one? The next stanza. How dark? I had not misheard. Are you light or very dark? Button B, button A, stench of rancid breath of public hide and speak. Red booth, red pillar box, red double-tiered omnibus squelching tar. It was real. Shamed by ill-mannered silence, surrender pushed dumbfounded to beg simplification. Considerate she was, wearing the emphasis. Are you dark or very light? Revelation came. The speaker did not anticipate this sort of question. He got confused about his complexion, whether he was very dark or lighter skin tone. He felt that this question of complexion was not as simple as to press the button A or button B on the phone booth, either to get the coin back or to continue the conversation. He started momentarily to look around for the different shades of colors, but he discovered the red color things all around: the phone booth, pillar box or letter box, or double-decker buses running on the newly built coal tar roads. Everything was red in color, so that may symbolize that he was in England or London. The speaker's silence after listening these words made the lady feel a little ashamed of her expression and made the speaker also feel that his silence was also ill-mannered. Both of them were equally dumbfounded. The lady, because she explicitly asked the unexpected question, and the speaker was silent because he could not imagine this unexpected question about the varying degrees of blackness. She, after regaining her composure, simplified the earlier version of her question and asked whether the speaker was very dark toned or light toned, because the word African generally connotes black people, but there are white Africans of European ancestry also. It might connote that she wanted to know whether the speaker was black American or white, whether the speaker was black African or white African, or what exactly the skin tone this African person possessed. There is huge amount of variation of skin color within African people, ranging from a skin as light as some Asians to the darkest skin tone on a global level. There are many skin tones present among black people, like completely near black, dark mid to light brown, tan, light tan to alabaster, a kind of off-white rock. The third stanza of the poem goes like this. You mean like plain or milk chocolate? Her accent was clinical, crushing in its slight impersonality. Rapidly, wavelength adjusted. I chose West African sepia, and as afterthought, down in my passport. Silence for a spectroscopic flight of fancy, till truthfulness clanged her accent hard on the mouthpiece. What's that? conceding, don't know what that is. Like brunette, that's dark, isn't it? Not altogether. The speaker, or the poet, after listening the finer version of the question, returned to the world of telephonic conversation jovially. With a very jovial mood, he used various objects of brown and black colors to make her understand the shade complexion. In a concrete way, he referred to plain chocolate of light brown color or milk chocolate denoting off-white color. He asked whether she was signifying dark like cocoa chocolate or light like milk chocolate. Her approval of the speaker's reference to shades of chocolate was cool, emotionless, and indifferent, and lacked warmth and emotion. Seeing her cold approval, the poet chose another option to refer to his complexion. He told his complexion was West African sepia, and immediately on second thought made it more clear that this is how it was written on his passport. Now what is sepia? Sepia is a kind of cuttlefish with reddish brown color. What he meant was that he was of reddish brown complexion. The lady on the other side of the phone could not understand this expression. The poet very humorously compared her imaginative attempt to understand the sepia color with the expression spectroscopic flight of fancy. Spectroscope is an optical instrument which analyzes the spectrum of matter and also a range of colors representing light, that is electromagnetic radiation. For example, a spectroscopic prism breaks the white light into the hues of several different colors. Very humorously, the speaker described the lady's absorption into the discovery of sepia color, and finally unable to explore the color, she revealed the truth that she did not understand the speaker's intent. Next slide. The last stanza of the poem. The poet has written, facially I am brunette, but madam, you should see the rest of me. Palm of my hand, soles of my feet are a peroxide blonde. Friction caused foolishly, madam, by sitting down has turned my bottom raven black. One moment, madam. Sensing her receiver rearing on the thunderclap about my ears, madam, I pleaded, wouldn't you rather see for yourself? In the fourth stanza, now, the communication on the speaker's part takes funny turn. He started describing the colors of his different body parts from face to his back, that is bottom. He told that his face was brunette. Brunette is basically a woman who has bleached her hair. Dear madam, please see my all body parts, my face blonde, the palm of my hands and soles of my feet have the color peroxide. Peroxide is a chemical used in hair colors for bleaching. What the poet meant was that he was not having one single color, rather different body parts were having different colors from head to toe. Finally, he described his bottom that had turned out raven, that is a black color of crow, by sitting for a longer time, very ludicrously. He sensed that the lady would get angry and drop the receiver, and the same thing happened. Despite being a white educated European, the lady could not understand what the poet had wanted to convey. Reading between the lines, we can interpret the meaning of the poet that a person's skin tone doesn't make him or her intelligent or cultured one. The skin color is only external factor which should not be the basis of devaluation or valuation of a person or a race. The implicit racism, apartheid culture, a part of human psyche, which was created during colonial period and still affect humanity. The subtle idea is that the political colonization is over, but the mental colonization is still inherent and entrenched into human thought. So very humorously, the poet requests the lady that, madam, wouldn't you rather see for yourself? That you must see me for yourself. Very humorously, the poet ends the poem. So, dear students, we have interpreted the poem Telephone Conversation by African writer Wole Soyinkya. You must try to understand the underpinnings of the poem, and you must try to find out or explore the idea of racism and apartheid culture. Thank you very much.